Hi, Kate. So good to see you. So I didn't realize that you were out in Scottsdale. Yeah, we lived there for a couple of months before we moved back to New Zealand.
Since 2001.
Okay. Hi, Jacinta.
Hey.
Yeah, we have a couple of good friends there. I don't remember the name of the place. Where did we stay? I don't remember the street names. How's it going, Jacinta?
Yeah, what area are you in, Regina?
I am in New Zealand.
Yeah, and what part?
So I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Napier. In
Yeah.
Hawke's Bay. Yep.
Yeah,
So it's on
nice.
Central North Island. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we've been here for a couple of years, and yeah, we're liking it enough. It's not too
That's
bad.
good. That's good.
Where are you?
In North Perth, so
Oh yeah.
Perth, Western Australia,
So
fairly central.
So you're pretty close to die then, are you? Or how
Yeah.
far away from? Okay.
Yeah, probably about 15.
Australia, yeah, pretty close.
Yes.
Yeah. I've only been to Melbourne and Melbourne, Sydney. That's it. Those are the only two places I've been. But I hear Perth is
Well,
really
I can say, and probably Jacinta will agree, you've missed the best if you've missed the West.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll get here.
Yeah, I'm sure I will eventually, pretty soon. Oh, Christine's coming in. So good to have you all here. Hi, Christine. How are you? Good to see you. I'm just going to wait a few more minutes, a couple more minutes, and then we'll just get started. Okay. So how are you guys doing this week? Or ladies, I should say.
Who is user? It may be a male.
Could be. Could be.
Yeah, I've been really low key, not
Yeah.
struggling a bit at the moment.
Yeah. Just keeping it easy.
Oh, things have just come, to a halt. A lot of roadblocks and pretty confused what to do.
As far as just life in general, personal stuff, or is it?
My business, it's really, really quiet. And I was going to create something, including what I'd love to do with girls, and it just all came to a halt again. So I just, I can't get clarity yet.
And so were you planning to do something online or some sort of event, or?
No, I was going to form a finishing academy for girls.
Oh, cool.
But it just, funding disappeared again or stopped, and it's my second big effort, so I just don't know. But I'm in a bit of you know, low key financially, and I don't believe for me that it's to do everything online. I find it too isolating for me.
It is actually quite isolating just being online, and I'm glad that you said that, because and you know, that's part of the reason we know you know, most of you here obviously, and in the same little mastermind group, and it's isolating, and to be honest, you know, you're trying to really create that relationship with the person, and though online works, sometimes, especially when you're starting out, a lot of it is still just going to have to be word of mouth, and you know, getting in touch with people and just really having real conversations. And you know, that's part of why Zoom is so powerful too, is just because even though we're not next to each other, we can still see each other's faces, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to get started. There are
Sure.
a few more people that we're going to pop on, but it's good to see you. I'm going to mute you all right now. I'll probably unmute you in a bit, because I really want to just kind of find out where you guys are. Really, my intention for, you know, obviously my intention here is to give you information, but also, you know, I'd like to hear for some of the things that you guys are going through. So just welcome to the Craft Clever Content 5-part workshop series. My name is Regina, and some of you know me. There's some that might not know me, but you know, let's just get into it. Hope you guys are doing really well. And let me know. I'm just going to share my screen here. And let me know if you can see my screen. Can I get a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Cool. What if digital sustainability is a bit easier than you expected? There are quite a few of you here who are, you know, are in another group with me, and so I think you've already built a really strong foundation, but not everybody has. And I think digital sustainability is really something that I'm really passionate about, because I've been working online since 2013. So my name is Regina. I have a brand that I started with my husband called Courageously Free when we started working online a few years ago. I'll get back into that in a second. I think before I really get into my story, I just kind of want to know, I know some of you here, some of you I won't know, but I actually want to know if you can unmute yourself. What are some of the challenges that you've had? You know, I'm assuming that you have a business, or you want to start a business, and you want to get online exposure. Just before we actually get started, if any of you can unmute yourself and just let me know what some of the issues what are some of the issues that you have, some of the challenges that you've come across. And I guess maybe first introduce yourself, and then just you know, mention kind of where you are and what one of your challenges is.
Hi, it's Christine here.
Hi, Christine. Good to see you.
No one else is unmuting themselves.
Yeah,
everything about it is a challenge. It's just like the longer the year goes on, the more I just go, this is too hard. And I mean, luckily for me, I'm on an age pension, so I got money coming in, but I mean, that doesn't sustain you for everything.
Yeah.
So I feel like in a lot of ways, I feel more like giving up than trying. That's where I'm at the moment. So
yeah,
I can empathize with Jacinta, you know, like hitting these roadblocks.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know how to. I did one video on my phone, and now I can't even find out where to do it. Yeah, it's just like everything about technology is like, I just want to see people. I just want to do a workshop with live people. I don't want to have to do anything else. It's like I need I feel like I need a team of people to just do everything else for me. And I just go and do what I want to do. Otherwise, I feel like it's too hard and I don't want to do anything.
I mean, you're in quite a unique position because you you put some content together last month or a few weeks ago, which I thought was really good, which is something that could eventually be turned into a product. And so I'm presuming, is that something that you are considering doing because you have so much content in here?
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Yeah, I thought of writing workshops and everything, but I don't know, this year's just been a black hole rather than me feeling like I'm moving forward. So yeah, I know that's got a personal thing connected to it. So yeah, I need a bomb under me at the moment. A bomb of enthusiasm. So yeah, I've got so much content, it's just ridiculous how much content I've got. But yeah, just doing of something. Instead, I've been knitting and doing jigsaw puzzles and thoroughly enjoying creating amazing looking cardigans. But that isn't going to earn me any money.
Oh, it could actually. Hey, you're really good at what you do, and just if for a thumbs up or a raise of hands of other people who the rest of you who feel the same. Yeah. And I'm going to just to kind of be totally transparent, it is a lot of work getting online and recognized. And I think one of the things that you hit is just perfectly is really being able to have a team to not only give you tips and tricks on what to do, but really just to kind of be there when you really need it, and to be able to kind of have a group where we can leverage each other's strengths. I'm going to have to admit there's going to be a lot of content in here that you may or may go over your head, but as long as you hear it and you see some pictures, you'll be able to at least grasp the idea. And the journey through this whole online digital sustainability thing is up and down. I think the biggest thing is really building that foundation and knowing that there is support and help for you. And as long as you have the content in your head, being able to sit with someone to kind of work through that will be, really helpful. So just a bit about me. My background is, well, I've done so many things. I started out in school doing engineering, and I realized that it was kind of boring for me. And then I thought it was quite interesting, maybe getting into the entertainment space, where I went to school for programming for computer graphics. And I thought that was a lot of fun. I mean, my first job out of school was working for George Lucas in one of this in the Clone Wars animation series in San Francisco. And so that was really cool for me. I worked around some really talented people, some really creative people. And I think that's part of what really inspires me now, even though I'm not in the industry anymore. It really has helped me understand now what I'm doing and how much everything is actually related. And a lot of what you see, if you're online, a lot of the ads you see, a lot of the things that you hear from people aren't necessarily relatable or relevant to your specific goal and what you want to do online. So from San Francisco, I actually ended up moving to Wellington, New Zealand to work. I got hired to work on Avatar. And so I worked on a few blockbuster videos. And everybody was just telling me, you know, the same thing. Oh, you know, that's so amazing. Wow, you've worked on amazing projects. But I think deep down inside, for me, it ended up just being a job because I didn't really have the passion in that area. And I was, you know, I was around the cream of the crop in the industry. Just people who are absolutely amazing, who now when I see their pictures now, they've really grown so much. But me being out of the industry and seeing all the things that I've been doing online, I mean, I miss the industry, but I still feel like I'm in the right place. And so I started working online in 2013, and I ended up leaving that industry to travel the world for 3 years with my husband. We didn't have our baby then. We ended up coming back to New Zealand, and then we decided to come back to New Zealand, and I got pregnant and had our little donut here in this image, and she's what inspires me, and she's part of my why. And this whole online journey is not easy. I remember a moment when we were in Panama and on the Caribbean side, in the Caribbean island of Bocas del Toro. And before I left New Zealand, before we left, my husband and I left New Zealand, I had a house and we had another house that we put up for rent, and my house was empty for 4 months. I couldn't get it rented. For the life of me, I couldn't get it rented. So we were at a point where, you know, I was on the other side of the world, desperate because we weren't bringing in anyone to fill the house, and I still had we still had the mortgage. So we were trying to figure out what the heck are we going to do. So luckily, because we were working online, it's so, I think the concept of being able to create a lifestyle online is so foreign to most people, but there's the biggest advantage of it is that you can create money, you know, once you have things set up, you're able to create something faster than having to go out and get a job and start a brick and mortar job. But really what that was built around was the content that we've created. So my daughter now is, she's 16 months old, and because we were able to build our content mainly back then, I pretty much took the time off from when I was pregnant until where she is now, and still leveraged the following that we have. And now I'm still building up again, but I can go back and still keep on posting, knowing that I've built that foundation. Now it's going to be different for everybody, but a lot of what you know, the ideas of thinking that, oh, I have to get that video up onto Facebook, I need to figure out how to do you know, my blog posting and all of that stuff. Yeah, a lot of that is very, very important, but I think coming down to learning how to craft your story and connecting that to your business is just so important, because pardon my French, but nowadays everybody's bullshit meter is really high. And because there are so many people who are coming online and becoming influencers and really utilizing this space, the one thing that will help you stand out is your personality, is what you can bring as value. People are going to connect with you, and that's extremely important. So that was a bit of who am I. We traveled around the world for 3 years, and a lot of that was also teaching other people things like Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, how to blog, how to do video marketing. There was a really big issue with that, the issue that I had, and that is that we were able to teach people these techniques and these technical, you know, little doodads. But the only thing with that is that we didn't know, you know, after they stopped learning from us, we didn't know how to really help them. It's, you know, people would come back to us and say, okay, well, what do I do next? And then we were a bit of at a standstill. So I really wanted to be able to help people be digitally sustainable. So most of the time when I was pregnant, even just the beginning of this year, I really began to think about, okay, well, what's really important to me, and how can I get this message across to other people? How can I express the importance of, you know, building your story? And I'm lucky, and some of you know Di Downey because, you know, you've worked with her, and she really helped me build that foundation of what my values are. And how that actually does translate to my business, and really building my business around my values rather than thinking, oh shoot, I've got an event next week, I need to put a post up. It's a lot deeper than that. When people focus on things like putting out an ad or just putting out a post, they're kind of thinking of the end goal already without having a foundation built. And so that's where, that's something that I really want to help with. And I know that all of you here are of different levels, so just bear with me, because what I can do too is just, you know, next presentation, if you're feeling like, okay, maybe can you cover this for a little bit in more simpler terms, or can you help me with, you know, something else, I can help with that. So content, what? There's this, I'm going to say it's a new buzzword, content marketing, but it really isn't. Everyone talks about social media marketing, and which is good in itself when you're thinking about trying to promote yourself. But I see social media and I see all of these technical tools just as exactly that, just tools. Because the real crux of your business and the real crux of who you are and how you're going to bring that to your business and what you know, that's all your content. So, you know, maybe a social media strategy really isn't enough to be digitally sustainable. And so all of you have content in your head. Content can be anything. First of all, when you see this picture, how many of you feel like this is what kind of goes on in your head? You're just like, you see all of these things and you're like, what the heck am I supposed to do with all of that? Content is your blog. Content is a podcast. Content is a post on your social media. Content is your live video. I know, Jacinta, you've done live videos. You know, content is an email, but really, and you have it all in your head. It's all between your ears. So you have everything that you need. The only thing is really trying to figure out how to organize that and really put it out in a way that you feel good about, in a way that your audience understands. And it's not going to happen overnight. But what I'm going to be kind of challenging you to do is to think a bit differently, rather than thinking about the engagement on your Facebook posts or Instagram posts, and rather than thinking about why isn't anyone commenting on it, start thinking about systems. And that's what I'm going to be talking about over the next five sessions, is really figuring out what you need to be able to create the system and lay it out in a way that people will understand. Because once you get that, then it'll be easy to say, okay, I do want to create an ad. I already have all of my information. Let me give you an example, just with this webinar in general, because I built rebuilt my foundation. I had asked my husband, okay, well, I need to put I'd like to put an ad up with $1 a day budget. And I said, okay, what do you need? Because my husband is the Facebook ad guru. He said, I just need the copy, which just means, you know, all the information that I need to write and the image. So I gave him that. I knew exactly how to target I didn't have to think about it because I've already built that foundation. I've built my audience because I wrote down exactly who that person was, what they do, and how they take in information. And that's something that we're going to start talking about next week, and really develop that the week after. So in the end, it doesn't have to do with like, how can I get engagement? Well, that is part of it. And that's what we're going to talk about as well. But really deep down inside, it's like, who are you and what do you want? You know, why are you here and where are you going? And that really is, you know, what do you have to offer with your business? What value can you give? And what do you want out of it? And really thinking about, think about how you can create your content around your business goal. You know, that's the what do you want, and a business goal can be anything in terms of online. A business goal can be, I want to increase my followers. I want to increase engagement. I want more traffic on my website, and traffic really is just getting eyeballs to your website. Just because you have a really pretty website or a really nice looking Instagram gallery, that doesn't necessarily mean people are actually going to see it. So if you're driving through the desert, and I know there are a few of you here who live in the desert. If you're driving on a desert road and for some reason there's a really amazing shopping mall on the side of the road, you're not going to know unless you see a sign out there. So if you put your sign out there, people will know where to go, and that's how you're going to be able to get traffic to your website. Another business goal can be, you know, creating an email list and adding 100 people to that list in the next 30 days. So when you're thinking of systems and thinking of your end goal, what you want to do too is, before you even think about putting a post up or how you're going to set things up, is really kind of thinking about your customer journey and what does that actually mean. So it's really kind of taking a step back, putting yourself into the shoes of your customer, and thinking about, if you're that customer, if you are your customer, what would that journey look like? So in the digital space, there are a few steps, and this is part of the journey that I devised, and I just based it on other journeys that I've seen. The first part of the customer journey online is awareness. So that really just means that if you have someone who's potentially following you, or maybe you put up an ad somewhere, maybe you have organic traffic, and organic traffic just means that some of you are in other Facebook groups, right? If you're in a Facebook group, for example, it's putting up a post in that Facebook group that could be organic, or people who are already following you. So if you have a Facebook page and you already have people who are following you and they see your post, that's organic traffic. And that's the very first instance that someone is aware of whatever you put up. The second part of that customer journey is like, okay, they see your post and they're looking at it, and there's for some reason they're attracted to that, whether it's the image, the way the image looks, maybe it's the colors. I know, Jacinta, you love colors. That'll attract you. Maybe it's the wording. Maybe you read the first line and that looks really interesting, and you just keep on reading the next line. So you've really got their interest. You have something that they're interested in. And so, for example, perhaps that can be not just the post itself, but something that you're offering. So maybe you're offering an ebook. Maybe you're offering a video series, or maybe you're offering or you're showing an infographic with interesting statistics. Like Christine, for example, you have some amazing content in what you put up a few weeks ago. Some of you might not know what that was, but Christine did a presentation, and she basically had I'd call it an infographic, and that's something that I would be able to offer someone for free. So just to give you an example, you don't have, do you have a website at all, Christine?
Yes, I do have a website and a Facebook business page. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
I need to update them because I did it about 4 years ago, and
Okay.
I do need to update it. Yeah, it's a bit.
And so that's, you know, this is a perfect time for you too, because you have to update your website, but what you can do is have a simple page that has a form on it that will allow people to, you know, sign their name in there, you know, put their name in there, and get this ebook or the information that you already have. So an example business goal for you, you know, if you wanted to build your, would be building your list, for example, because you have something free, something of value that you can give someone. So if you're thinking, okay, my goal is to get, I don't know, maybe 30 followers in the next couple of weeks or in the next 30 days, what do I need to do to get there? So you would just take your information and package it in a way, whether it's a PDF or whether it's on your actual blog as a blog post, but maybe other people can't see it. Maybe it's a private link. You can get people to sign in. Your post would say something like, you know, would mention that, you know, I've got a free book for you. So what they would essentially do is click the link, go to that page, and then in return, you would send them a link through email, and they would get that link. And some of that can be automated, and I'm glossing over it like really quickly, and I don't expect you to understand, you know, some of what I'm talking about, and that's okay. Just kind of giving you an idea of what you can do, and so you can actually use that information to start bringing leads in, and eventually drive them to your website.
Yeah, I think that it's all the technicalities of those things. I think I don't have a problem with content because I've written workshops for years, and you know, but anyway, that was a long story about walking away from that business partnership and leaving everything behind, including everything I'd worked towards. So it's been a massive emotional journey for me. So I think I obviously haven't transcended all the boundaries yet of creating content again. But yeah, it's all those technicalities like how to do a blog, how to create a link on a page, how to, you know, just that whole world of technicalities.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, I'll get there, I suppose.
And if there are any, you know, workshops that you want to do, or that you want me to help you guys with as well, let me know, because it can be added to, in addition to this series, so that we can actually walk you through step by step. And so right now what we're doing is just laying the groundwork. I know this, you know, this session is going to be a bit fluffy, and, you know, that's okay, because it's that groundwork that needs to be kind of laid. And so just let me know, maybe write down some things that you would love to learn, and send it to me, and then we'll look into, you know, setting up some workshops, some how-to workshops, if that helps. And so after you attract them into the whatever offer you have, whether it's an ebook or video series, or maybe it's a podcast or anything, they're going to be reading your emails. They're going to be watching you. They're going to be watching you closely. And so this is the best time for you to give even more value, because what you were doing originally, or what you would do in the first place, is just to kind of attract them, lure them in, you know, bring them in a way, because what you have is attracted to them. And now this is the value that they're actually looking for. And that can be in a series of emails, in a series of posts, and even more videos that can give them that information. And then after they're kind of looking at you closely, oh, did I miss it? I think I missed a slide. Oh, and then after they're watching you closely, you know, they've seen emails from you, or they've seen other posts for you, you know, 7 to 12 times, however much it is. And they're like, okay, actually, I'm really interested. What you're giving me is of value. And I do want more information, whether it's a coaching session, whether it's whatever products you have. And this is really where your business goal is met. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean that they're actually buying your product. It could be, a business goal can be just what you were talking about earlier, is getting those 30, building your list. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a monetary exchange. It just has to be whatever goal that you've, that you set out for. And so the journey doesn't even end. The journey doesn't end once they've purchased from you, or the journey doesn't end once, there's an exchange. So being able to kind of nurture them afterwards and check in and see how they're doing. Maybe you've had a coaching session and you taught someone, I don't know, how to style their house, how to style their living room. That wouldn't just stop there. When you're done, you'll check in and say, hey, what else? Is there anything else I can help you with? So it's really just kind of understanding the journey as a whole. And the reason why I'm laying it out like this is because at each of these steps along your journey can actually be tracked. And so, and a lot of the reason why I say, sometimes it's not about how many followers you have or the engagement. Sometimes it is. And if you notice that there are numbers lower in other areas, and this is going to be, later on in the future, I'm just really kind of preframing you and giving you an idea of what it could look like once you get into the technical how-tos. You'll know exactly where to change things. So for example, if you've, if your goal is to build a list, but you notice that your numbers are quite low, there's something that needs to be changed. So between the attract and the assess, between the attract and the assess parts of the customer journey is where you would, for example, put a landing page. So that's where a person will actually go in and put their information in to get into your list. So you know that if your numbers are low and you're not really building that 30 people in 2 weeks, that there's something about your landing page, and the landing page is just the single website page that people see to put their name in. There's something about that needs to be changed, whether there's wording that needs to be changed, whether the color of the button needs to change a different color. Like, I kid you not, sometimes it's just the color of the button, or it's just one word that'll change the conversions, or that will change your metrics. So everything on your journey is actually measurable, and that's what really helps in the bigger end. So when people ask me, will I be successful at such and such, it's more, the better question would be, how, what do I need to do to become successful in that area? Because it's all measurable and you can change everything as you go along. And I'm pretty sure that you've seen this content donut. And you're probably wondering, what the heck is content donut? A lot of you know that my hashtag for my daughter online, because I don't necessarily want to use her name, is our little donut. And so she was kind of my inspiration for this name. But what the content donut is part of the model that I developed to be able to present a framework that will help you organize all the thoughts that are in your brain, and then eventually put that out in front of people's eyes. So that's my little content donut. Because the thing is, you never really know what people want. If someone wants a cute little donut, or someone wants a donut and you want to sell it, you have to figure out, okay, what kind of donut do they actually want? Do they just want a cute little bear? Are they elegant and do they love the color pink? Would they rather have some really intricate designs on their donuts? maybe they don't even really want a normal donut and they just want donut holes, maybe handmade donut holes. But actually, you know, maybe all of that's a bit too fancy. They just want a plain donut. They just want to eat it. They just want to taste something that's really yummy. So if you were to go out and sell donuts, you still have to think about your customer, what they want, and you have to think about the ingredients that would make their donut taste really yummy. So there's a lot of thought put into that, rather than I'm just going to go out and sell donuts.
Regina?
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt, I need to go. So just wanted to say bye. And
okay.
Sorry, but see you, Christine.
See ya.
Just that meeting, bye.
Okay. And you remember that picture at the very beginning with all of those icons all over the place? And how sometimes that kind of makes you, that's what you feel like when you see all of that? Now, I think the hardest thing to do when you have all of these things floating around in your head and all of these ads of different, you know, other products that people are sharing, and trying to figure out all these social media, all of these social media platforms, it makes your head spin. So I always like to think of one thing that I need to focus on. Because when you're focusing on one, it allows you to be a bit more personalized. It's easier to measure. And along the line down somewhere, you're going to be able to automate a lot of what you do once you've set the groundwork. And what do I mean by automate? Well, for example, for this webinar, the webinars, for example, some of my emails are automated because right before this, I was running around because I had a couple of appointments. So I didn't really have the time to send out an email right away, or an email at a specific time. So what I ended up doing is I set it up last night. And there are a couple of emails that I've set up, you know, a few days ago or last week. So that allows me to keep on doing what I need to do during the day. And my work is pretty much done for me. And of course I have to take the time to set that up, but that's just one example of something being automatable. And I know that sometimes the idea of automation for people feels a bit icky and sticky. But if you know that you're giving value and you know that you're being personable and talking to that specific person, your persona, it almost doesn't matter, because you're eventually going to be able to reconnect and connect with that person. So what do I mean by focus on one? I mean, pick one business goal to focus on and build content around it. Like I mentioned earlier, that could be building your list. That could be increasing your click rate. That could be increasing your email open. And it could just even be something as simple as just putting up a book, or putting up three posts to put out the value. Focus on one audience. So when you're creating your business, you know, a lot of times what I hear is when someone starts out building their business, they know that their product will actually help everyone in the world, because hey, maybe it will actually help everyone out in that world. But the thing is, when you're trying to create personability online, a lot of times if you're when you're writing a post or even doing a video, you're going to be talking to that one specific person. You can't really talk to everybody and give them that value, because then you're going to be all over the place, right? So you want to be able to talk to that one single person in your audience. So you have your target market, and you obviously have your avatar. And we talk about where that person lives, what they do, what, you know, where the places that they go to. In the context of content, all of that is, you know, where do they live online? you can be asking me about an Instagram question and how to increase engagement, but is your audience actually on Instagram? Or are they on Facebook? Or maybe they're not on either of them. Maybe they're on Snapchat. So for example, I've, on the side, I work with a youth employment company, and their demographic is on Facebook. Their demographic is also on Snapchat. So even though, you know, we have a website for the company, that doesn't necessarily mean that that demographic is going to be on the website. But then I'm also, for the website, I was also using it to attract employers or other people who will go on the website. So if I want to talk to youth, they're all on Snapchat. And most of the time, I won't be talking with them. I'll be having someone younger who will be putting out a post for the young person, because they're not necessarily, I'm not relatable for them. So talk to your audience, have a conversation, get personal, and tell them what to do. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of marketers and a lot of business owners just don't do, is they don't tell people what to do. And that doesn't necessarily mean go out and buy my product. But once you write out your blog post or a post, at the end, they have to get them to do at least one thing, even if that's just come back tomorrow because I have another post for you about da 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 da. And also using one voice. It's probably not as much of an issue for a lot of you, because a lot of you are, micro business owners, solopreneurs. It's just you or maybe another person in your business. But once you start to grow, or even just now, is really developing that voice. And what that means is, the overall tone, how you're going to talk to that specific person. And a lot of it, it's going to be easy for you because it'll be your personality, really. Once you start growing your business, really being able to think about what that voice is when multiple people post for you, eventually, you might not be doing that now, and that's fine, but it's actually quite important. And the reason why I say that is because my husband and I, we right now he's a stay-at-home dad, but while we were traveling, and actually still now as well, both of us would create content. And so when we were building our list, there were certain lists where both of us were writing emails to our list, but we're very, very different people. So where I tend to be a bit softer and a bit, I'd like to give more value. He's more of, get things done. He's very, very straightforward. He tells you everything that you need, right off the bat, whether it's harsh or not, or whether it's perceived as harsh or not. But because our personalities are totally different, there were different voices, and we started getting emails back from people telling us, this isn't what I signed up for, or this isn't what I want, take me off my list. And so, that just made me think, okay, well, what do I need to do to be able to retain those people? It's part of that focus on one. And in that particular instance, it's focusing on the one voice. Just by the way, if there are people who unlike you, unsubscribe, unfollow you, don't worry about it, because the people who are who even like haters or people who say funny things to you, they're not gonna necessarily be your audience anyways. And it's probably actually a blessing that they do that, because then that allows more space for other people that you do want to work with, or that you do want to provide value to come into and actually listen to you. So when thinking about, I guess, part of what I do is really obviously to help you kind of put everything in one place and really be a bit focused on how to put your content out and talk to that specific person that is watching you. I just wanted to give you an example of one of the projects that I worked on. I have a dear friend who is a real estate agent, and her specialty is home styling, and I wish Jacinta was on here still because she would be able to relate to this, but she can see this later. Home styling is her specialty. Not very many people, at least in the area that I live in right now, do that. And so she wanted to, this was a book that she put out 12 years ago, and she wanted to revamp it and put out another version of it. And so she asked me if I could help her, and I said, yeah, sure, I could help you. And so knowing how she is, she's quite elegant, she's a fashionista, she loves art, she's a very kind of like a fancy lady, you know, but very straightforward, very creative, and she does, you know, she's into feng shui and all that kind of stuff. So when I see the book that she created 12 months ago, like, I don't see her personality on it. Like, I look at it and all it says is the guide to selling your home for more. And to me, like what does more mean? And yeah, this might be the guide to selling your home, but I don't actually know what that means and how that is of value to me if I'm trying to sell my house, because I can go online or I can find other books with that information. And me knowing her, I know that she's a stylist. Like, this really, like, some of the images that she has, she had in her book were amazing, but it didn't really represent who she was or who she is now. And so when I thought about the people that she wants to talk to, I talked about who her demographic was and kind of thought of her and her values. I helped her put something together that looked a bit more fresh, a bit funky, something that, you know, this pink color is her brand color, and it describes her to the T. She's very much a girly girl. She loves shoes, she loves shopping. And so I wanted to create something that was simple, readable, and that represented her. And the book actually ended up turning out amazing. I gave it to her a few weeks ago, and I was actually surprised that it looked good in print, because I actually don't do print work. I was just helping her out because she's my friend. But this is just an example of how you would want to, you know, curate your content that would suit the style of your demographic and really tell people this is what you do. So basically what you're doing with your content is you're putting yourself on a plate and like serving yourself to people, because people are buying you, not necessarily your product. But this would be an indication of like who you are. I have a friend, so we threw an event not too far from here a couple of years ago, and one of the ladies that we were working with, she is an amazing, she's an amazing mother of 5, and her kids are into the most extreme sports. I think the oldest is 16 years old, and the youngest is maybe 6 or 7 years old, but they're into professional skating, Muay Thai kickboxing, BMX, and they're into the most extreme sports, and they travel in their RV all over the country, and they travel all over the world. And I worked with her a few years ago. We taught her how to work with social media, and she built a brand. And I'm working with her again to really start building her stories, because she's actually started a new business in the health, I guess it's kind of the health and nutrition industry, but it's with water, just being able to, but selling clean water, this really special water filter. And she's recently come up to me, you know, asking, she knows all of the techniques and the technical bits, but it's really being able to take what she knows to help out the people who are working with her and who want to, and who she wants to help sell this product to as well. And I said, you know, there are some life skills programs that will, you know, for example, ask you for your values and your personal values versus your values at work. But I actually really think that your values are all one and the same. So I was telling her, you know, start building up your audience by building up what your family lifestyle is like, because that is that's her life. That is her life. Her kids are her life and what they do. And they bring this machine with them everywhere when they travel, and the kids drink the water when they're in the water from this machine when they're in Thailand. And it's helped them, I think her son the other day had some sort of a rash on his chin, and she used that water and created some spray, and it kind of cleared up a bit. And she does demonstrations showing how pure this water is and how much it cleans the vegetables, vegetables and fruits. And so I was just saying, start building up stories around your travels and how you actually use your water. Because people want to see this, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And so that's what she's starting to do. So I'm helping her build up her stories so that she can put that out online. And we've traveled around the world with her as well. And so, over the next few sessions, there are some expectations that that you can get from me. And there's some expectations that I have from you guys as well. It kind of goes both ways. And so I'm going to be teaching you the model that I created, and we're going to go through different steps. And by the end of the last session, you're actually going to have a strategy put together, or at least the basis of the strategy together, so that you can feel confident about putting your content out. There's so much information around marketing and all this technical stuff that I will be adding in other how-to courses after this whole session, because really what this is building your foundation so that you know exactly who you're talking to, so that you can feel confident about actually just getting into the stories and writing what you want to write, and building that around your business goal and putting that out there. And some expectations that I have for you are really just to tell me what you want to learn as well. Feel free for any of the emails that I send you to reply back to them. And if you see me on Facebook, feel free to message me, because I want to be able to help you. Like I said, I'm really passionate about helping people be digitally sustainable, because we've been able to do it, and it does take a lot of work, but I want to be able to help create a group so that we can all support each other in some ways. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And I think we're probably even on time. How are you guys going? How's it going, Christine?
Yeah, good. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just a few of you that are here, or if you choose to, I know we talked about some of your challenges earlier, but just kind of going through that, what are some things that you expect from me and that you can contribute?
I don't know that I had any expectations. So yeah, I think the technicalities of just how to do some of these things might be good, because I think I do nothing because I don't even know the first step of the technicalities, and so that's sort of holds me back. Like even like, how do you do a webinar like this? Just something like that, or how do you do a blog post, and like, how does that make money for you? I mean, how like, if you're just putting up a blog post, I mean, is this just all free stuff to get people in to do what, like to have a session with me or something like that? Or, if I get act into gear and write workshops again.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to, well, what do you want? So like when you were doing your workshops before, what was your intention to set up the workshop in the first place, or a workshop or a series of workshops?
Well, my intention was obviously different to the business partner in the end result. So what my intention would be now is that I like to educate people into how to be self-sustainable in terms of their own health, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Very big on the spiritual side, but we have to take all the rest into consideration. So it's self-empowerment, I think, if you want to give it a one-liner.
And so what is giving people self-empowerment, what did that do for you? Like what was in it for you? Were you just doing the workshops for free just to give people information, or was there
no, previously it was a whole healing school. Yeah, but I mean, obviously you have to earn some money, but I don't want it to be like this massively expensive thing. It needs to be affordable, and there's different target markets, because there could be like young mothers who could be helping to bring up much healthier children if they just knew what to feed them and when and how. You know, there's so much you can do with kinesiology. But also my favorite thing is more people who are looking for, you know, spiritual growth, emotional, mental growth beyond the concept of who am I, you know, taking that into a much grander vision of who I am in the world in a multidimensional sense. So, you know, I'm very big on multidimensionality and accessing more of your DNA potential and that type of thing. So that's really my favorite audience.
And again, that goes back to trying to figure out obviously who you are and what your values are, which I'm like pretty sure that you've done because of Di's courses, but also really being able to narrow that audience down. And it went back into talking about, or I was talking about, you know, focusing on one earlier, where like really everything that you do can actually help everybody.
Yeah.
But the real value is being able to help that one specific person, even if you had to just focus on one person first and get that working. It'll be easier to measure everything and really to make an impact on that specific person, really create that relationship.
Right. Yeah, that just clarified something when Di says pick a person to focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just something in the way you said it, then it's like, oh, this bloody mind of mine that's like that page you showed with everything. So it's kind of going everywhere and thinking, oh, well, I could do this and I could do that and I could help those people, could help these people. But really, I know what my favorite is and where I just feel like, you know, this is so inspiring. But then it doesn't seem to me like it's the man in the street kind of thing. It feels like it's a much more selective audience.
Yeah.
But still and all, there's no reason that I shouldn't focus on that. So, yeah, thank you. I think that gives more inspiration. It's kind of like I'm trying to simplify what I do and who I am, as if it's not okay to be that out there, but in effect, I'm happiest when I'm out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be out there, but also thinking that that specific audience and working with your favorite group is probably the best thing, because you're going to enjoy that the most and you're going to give them the most value. But understanding that they're actually, you might be way out here, but they're also right here. So using their, you know, their languaging and what they understand is most important to kind of drag them to where, you know, or not really drag them, but to entice them to live a better life over here.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how can you be able to translate all of that information into your blog post? And it really starts with that one audience, that one tone of voice, and talking specifically to that person, just like I'm having a conversation with you. this is how I talk in my blog posts. I'm talking as if I'm face to face with you, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So.
Yeah, because there's one particular client that came and she didn't even have any context for past lives, and I was doing an energy balance through her feet, and she was experiencing past lives, and now she's become like a regular client because she just loves it, and it's like she feels like I'm mentoring her in her life to be much more than she ever dreamed she could be, in a fairly mainstream career, but she's bringing her own creativity into it. So yeah, it's kind of like, oh, okay, I'm getting, it's kind of filtering in more as how I can do that. Yeah,
I mean, your conversations online should be exactly the same types of conversation that you will have in a physical workshop. If you're actually next to that person, even on a one-on-one coaching. And I know sometimes that's a bit hard because you're like, if you're doing a video, there's a camera in front of you and you're not used to having a camera in front of you. Well, then do hundreds of videos and get used to that camera being in front of you.
Yeah.
So just keep on writing. But I mean, you've got a good support group. I mean, we're all here for you. And like Victor, I know that Victor is really, a really good marketer as well. And he's pretty technical, and Johan's doing amazing stuff too as well. So I mean, we're all here to help you. So cool.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Kate or Victor or anyone else who's on here, any questions, comments, expectations, or challenges? I just want to say hi.
Well, thank you, because content now actually has meaning, and it kind of zinged when you said emails are content. And I don't know why that made the puzzle fall into place, but you said it's all up here, and I just have a better idea. So when you make a blog post, that it's just presenting it in different forms to different people.
That's exactly what it is. You can have one piece of content.
I just thought content was kind of like, oh my God, do I have to make up lies? Do I have to tell stories? But no, you have to document and bring it out and make it followable.
Yeah,
sustainable. If I can make up words as I go.
That's a good way of explaining it. And that's exactly what it is. You can have the simplest, step-by-step, whatever it is. And you can add story to it to emphasize what that needs to be. But let's say you have 3 steps to something, 3 steps to whatever, and you put that in a blog post. Well, you can also do that in a video. And maybe the video will be slightly different, but then maybe you can transcribe that video. Maybe you can turn that video into a podcast. Maybe you can turn that podcast or the transcription into a book, and it'll all be the same thing. But you can alter it little by little so that it's different enough. But if you think about your audience, even though you have that one person that you're talking to, other people who are listening to you are different types of learners. There are people who are, audio, visual, kinesthetic. You have digital learners. So if you have this one piece of content in different formats, then you're maximizing the amount of people who are retaining your information or getting your information.
So that was the biggest thing for me, is you helped me truly understand the concept of content. So for that, I thank you. And I think that it's kind of doable. It's just a matter of, well, how do you eat a hippopotamus, one bite at a time.
Yeah. And then, maybe having how-to workshops is the first step to doing that. And even, like other people, like, Victor, you're really good at technical stuff. I mean, that could be something that you would want to teach as well. So, and like I said, write down your questions or ask questions, because I'm always here to help out. So cool. Thank you for that. Um, Hi, Victor.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Sorry I'm late. I had a job, but I just had a technical issue. It actually was sitting here waiting for you to allow me to come in. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I think that's an issue on my side. I think there's a setting. There's a setting that will allow you to actually just come in, and I didn't think about that. So I'll have the recording. So I apologize.
That's all right. No, I was just sitting here. I thought this is odd. So
But,
cool.
no, yep.
A couple of things. I've missed most of it, unfortunately, but with what Christine was saying about her audience when she's happiest to being out there. Now, you know, I'm never going to be Christine's audience. And that's no disrespect to her at all. But
No, it's just what it is.
yeah, that's right. You know, I'm not going to be in that field. So, you know, it really is important that her messages and her language, as you were saying, is going to match those people. If that's where she's happiest and that's where she wants to be, then that's her audience.
Totally.
It's, you know, so it's obvious to me that would be it. And then it was interesting what Kate said, you know, about with her blogs and, you know, you don't have to lie. But one thing that she did say, didn't have to tell a story, but in a lot of ways, and you know that stories are the way to do it. Because we often talk in stories, you know, like you're talking, let's say we talk about a bad driver and you know, there's 3 or 4 of us, all of us will have a story that you will tell about a bad driver experience. So it's put into a story. So do you agree with that? That, you know, some of the best ways to get a message across, or what your point of view is, that a mess is into a story, or? Yeah,
absolutely. And it's really being able to use that story and writing it in a way to connect that to what your end goal is. And really, the story is the vehicle of, you know, grabbing people's attention and getting them engaged. And that's most of the traction in the sales that we had was through story-driven ads. In fact, because we've tested out different, you know, like kind of salesy ads versus actual stories, and that's where we got the most traction.
Right. Yeah, cool. And what, I guess the hard part when you say that about how do you put it in your language and comfortable, is it when, you know, I've done a lot of copywriting seminars and, you know, books and all sorts of stuff in that, and it sort of takes it all, you know, when they teach you that, it takes it away from, you've got to talk in that language.
Can you be more specific?
Like when you're doing a copywriting and you want to say, write a sales letter or a sales page, you know, they teach you and say, right, this is what's got us the best results. So there's these words and the style of words that you're using, which are not always going to come natural to you. But they're saying, you know, do this because this is what's made us a lot of money and it's worked for us and this has got the best results.
And I agree with, I think whoever you learn from, you know, whether it's me or anyone else, or even when people learn from you, you're obviously going to teach what's worked for you. And I think the most important thing, and I think that's why it's really great to, you know, we've all learned how to, you know, build everything around our values. Once you know your values and who you are, you're able to pick out what actually works for you. So if you've got 3 teachers talking about copywriting, this may seem like it'll work for you. This may seem like it'll work for you, bits and pieces, and you just kind of have to really figure it out. And it's really, a lot of it really is just trial and error. You can try exactly what they do, but then inject your personality in it as well. I mean, when you read what you've written, you take a step back and say, is this something that I would actually say in a conversation? You know, is this like, because you coach as well, right? Or what?
I've done coaching online, yes.
Yeah. Is the way that you talk, or is the way that you converse online exactly how you would converse in person? You know, without the camera. You know, think about that as well.
I would say maybe at the start, probably not, when you've got, like, for all of us, like, you're nervous and you're at your first one. But you know, I've made some comments before that now I'm finding I'm talking better, I'm more relaxed.
Yeah, cool.
And just because I've done a few.
Yeah. And following someone's formula or someone's framework is good to start out with, but I guess it's just the act of doing that will get you to understand what you really want and what you don't want. And if something is not working, then you just change it. And it's just it's an evolving process, and you know that very well. And I've seen the change in you know, in your videos and your posts and your presentations now versus what just a few months ago.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference. So cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any expectations of me or any questions? I know that we're a bit over time, and I'm really sorry. We'll wrap this up very, very soon. Yeah. Do you have any expectations of me or any questions or anything that you want to learn?
I know, Regina, did you record this?
I did, yep.
Oh, cool. So I can watch the first bit.
Yeah,
yep.
And then I'll provide the slides as well for you.
All right.
Cool. Well, I appreciate your time, and thank you so much for being on here.
Cool.
Looking forward to seeing you guys. The next webinar is on the 11th, and I will send out a reminder for that. But yeah, and let me know if there's anything else that I can help you with in between.
Cool.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Hey, see ya.
See you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.